It is 1959, and wow. I really wasn't expecting a red world scenario, but I guess the Comintern somehow dominated this world, and for some reason our Celtic Confederation has massively fractured, with the only Celtic member of the faction being Cornwall. And they're not even the leader of the faction. That would be France. I mean, I knew the French would probably join the Celts like they usually join the Allies since they start off the faction as democratic, but I really didn't think they would just take over the faction. I mean, you know the Bretons are probably pissed about this. And then for some reason we have China in western France and southern Occitania. How did they get here? What, are you trying to reverse the recipe for Guangzhou one? I can only imagine how weirdly that would turn out. Meanwhile, Italy has basically become the Korea of this world, as we have a democratic south in Naples, Sicily, and Sardinia, and then of course a communist north, but I guess they got drunk on some of that premium Soviet vodka, cause the Italian Union, the communist Italy, only exists in Rome and Aosta, with the Soviets just deciding that they were gonna take over the rest of it. I guess this world also had a new Balkan update, 25% less communism, yet 100 times more chaos. Meanwhile, Poland also seems to have a Chinese colony, and as for Germany, well, it's basically just the HRE again. Of course, the AI just releasing a bunch of random African nations, but Spain doing something interesting with their African colonies. Since I gave them Nigeria and Cameroon when dismantling the British, they just decided to rocket up into the Sahara to barely connect to their Western Saharan territory. Honestly, I'm surprised they didn't just take over Morocco and connect the rest of their colonies and path through to their mainland. Meanwhile, I guess the Soviets are doing their southern thrust strategy, since, as I said, when I dismantled the British to give the island to the Celts, I had to give a bunch of random land from the British Empire to random people, and for Iran, I gave them Afghanistan and Pakistan, which then the Soviets conquered all of it, and now they have a nice Indian Ocean port that's less blockadable in Karachi. And then they decide to divide India with China getting these random fucked up borders that aren't even connected. The Soviets grabbing a couple pieces, Gujarat and Rajasthan, and then a weird Soviet Raj buffer that also has Arunachal Pradesh, which is not even connected in any way, so I don't know how you're going to be able to reinforce this, but okay. Meanwhile, China itself has unified under democracy, and besides that random Indian territory, they also annexed Korea and puppeted Indochina. But unfortunately, Japan has been balkanized, with Kyushu and Shikoku just randomly gaining independence, a democratic Japan that only exists in Chugoku, with their capital in and then the Soviets have decided to puppet the Ainu and the rest of Senko-san! You're not usually in time lapses, what are you doing here? And you're communist now? I guess she's seizing the means of all of the fried tofu. Meanwhile, my homeland has just been converted into a bunch of Soviet puppets, which, okay. Let me get this straight. So the Soviets, instead of giving Idaho to Cascadia, who already had cores on it, just decided to puppet the US with Earl Browder in just Idaho. Genius decision-making by the Soviet AI. Just down south, we have a horribly ironic reverse card, with Texas now being communist and California going fascist. Clearly, the demographics of this world have been fucked up in ways I can't even imagine. Either way, while the Celtic faction might have broke up, the colonies still seem to be loyal to their Celtic overlord, even if, most of them are communists now. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't already, as the majority of you haven't, and I'll see you in the next video. Matani!